You know that feeling where you start up a brand new game, you hear that introduction music, those first couple of beats, and you know straight away you're in for a whale of a time. Well, this is the exact experience I had with Kingdoms of the Dump. Now, before we get into my review of this indie title, John aka Chicken Fillets here. If you like JRPGs, indie JRPGs, and a wee Scottish guy talk about it, well, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, after the review, I want to know if this is going to be a title that you are going to be picking up. So let's talk a bit of a tale of the tape of this. This is Kingdoms of the Dump, an indie retro-style JRPG from Roach Games Studios. And I did this review on my Steam Deck, which is an OLED model for clarity, and I played this exclusively on there. So let's discuss the story of Kingdoms of the Dump. Welcome to the lands of the Fill. Join this trash can knight, Dustin Binsley, as he fights his way through the 5.5 kingdoms of the Dump. Rescue the trash-picked king, defeat the totally disgusting toxic gremlin army, and prevent the lands of the Fill from an all-out war. You'll be accompanied by a colourful cast of characters, the likes of Ratavia, Walker Jacket and Cerulean, and even Loot. Now, this is a fantastic journey that you'll go on throughout the Kingdoms of the Dump. Now, obviously, that's just a very brief synopsis of the title, but you know what you're going to be getting yourself into from that. But I want to tell you my general thoughts on what I thought of this actual story. And I tell you what, this story did not disappoint. I think which really sets it out from other indie JRPGs is purely down to its aesthetic and it being set in a totally different landscape of a dump. You know, you're playing as Dustin Binsley, a bin, who is a chirpy, upbeat character who's a bit ditzy at the same time. Where you have Ratavia, who has a bit of a mysterious past at first, who really looks out for Dustin as well. You've got the likes of Walker Jacket as well, a very knowledgeable character with a strict mission ahead of him, and his companion Loot, who is a fantastic little character. And then you've got our laundromancer, known as Cerulean, who is very recluse. I'd like to use that word. The world building for this game starts straight away when you fire up the game. And then when you find out a bit more about the past of the Kingdoms of the Dump, and Dustin's sleeping in, of all things, causing a bit of havoc and setting him on a globe-trotting adventure. Each town that you visit as well is full of life. The NPCs in this, you know, when you play any sort of RPG, whether it's AAA or whether it's indie, you know, your NPCs can be a make or break for certain games. So, for example, Trails series is renowned for having fantastically written NPCs. Now, I found with this game that NPCs were really fantastically written. I think what also gives them extra personality is when you talk to them, they've all got their own character portrait and it works to their strengths. So for example, you're talking to a little fruit fly and you only see the top of their head in the picture. I just found that really funny. You know, and then you've got the guards who are made out of plastic bottles with helmets on, or the other citizens who are made out of cardboard, talking to a vending machine as well who has little quips. It's utterly fantastic. What a world this is, and I can't wait for you to explore it. Now, talking about exploring and gameplay, let's move on to that. So we'll talk a bit about the gameplay. Now, in regards to this is a turn-based combat game, so let's talk about that first. So you will be spending a lot of time in combat. There is no random battles. All the battles you'll see when you go into the various little towns and forests, etc. You will see the enemies on the field. You'll engage combat with these enemies. Now, turn-based combat is not just selecting. You're going to be tactically moving your characters around a 3x3 grid-based system. This If you are, for example, at the front of the grid, then your attacks are going to be more powerful. However, what will happen is you'll be open to more damage. Whereas if the further back you are in the grid, you'll give out less damage, but obviously you'll take less damage as well. Each character has their own moveset as well. So for example, Dustin will use his sword. Raptavia has throwing knives and has different skills as well. Whereas the likes of Walker Jacket has a gun. And for example, there is a kind of a very, very, very small mini game with his attack. It's great fun. Now, also, it gives you tactical advantages for escaping attacks as well, because sometimes an enemy will launch a big attack and you will see where those attacks will land. So you might have the opportunity to move out the way just before it, because during your attack process as well, you're able to move your character one way or the other on the grid. So you can either move forward or you can move to the side or back, depending where you are on the board. So you're able to also dodge things as well. Now, what I mean by this is, let's say, for example, one of your enemies uses a bottle attack. What will happen as well, the tiles underneath you will have shattered glass. Now, if you stand on that, you don't move your character, you're going to get damaged like you would with poison attacks, for example. There's toxic attacks, so your tiles will turn toxic. There's water. There's various different tile statuses which will affect battle. I really enjoy this battle system. It keeps each battle fresh. It's not just hit A to win. And what I will say as well is make sure to be fully stocked up with your health curatives. Make sure to go to the vending machines, the stores, and make sure you're topped up. You'll understand when you play. It's not a hard game overall, but I found it better to have those in the background just to heal up the characters. Now, there is also exploration within each town as well, and you have full platforming action with this. So you're able to run around the explorable towns and you're able to jump and platform. So there is so much to explore. There's so many little secret chests that you can open up. And also you'll be able to collect screws, which is essentially your MP to do magic, etc., those skill attacks. And there's also paper clips, which is your form of currency, which you'll find scattered around. So it's always worthwhile exploring. You could be walking around a little town and then next minute you're on top of the roof of a building. It keeps exploration fresh and it keeps you interested in the game instead of getting bored of just going from point A to point B. Now, from getting from point A to point B, there is a world map as well, which I love this world map. The way that the world rotates with you dependent on the direction. So if you're heading north, the world map will rotate as well. It's so class. I absolutely love this. Now, let's talk about the presentation of the game. This is, like I mentioned at the start, a retro-style indie game. So it is trying to emulate the SNES, the 16-bit era JRPGs, and it's absolutely glorious, and especially on the OLED model which I played, it really pops out all the colours. Now, also, the colour palettes which are used for the various dumps and locations that you'll be going to. So, for example, when you're in the Kingdom of Garbagia, I think that's how you pronounce it, garbage, whatever it's called, there is those tones which are used which really flesh out the world. It's fantastically presented. And yeah, absolutely love it. So the other thing I absolutely love with this game is the music. The music is banging. Now, this is a retro style soundtrack as well. Now, instead of me banging on about, the composition and the orchestration, this, that, and next thing, no, listen to these samples and make your mind up for yourself. It's class. Now, when it comes to the performance of Kingdoms of the Dump, like I mentioned, I played this on the Steam Deck OLED model. So battery life-wise, well, it's an indie pixel art game. So your battery is going to last a very long time with this. We could be looking about 6 to 7 hours worth, I want to say. And also, when it came to the FPS, for this, it never dropped under 60 frames per second. It ran super smoothly, and it looks glorious on the screen handheld. So overall, my thoughts on Kingdoms of the Dump. Like I said in the thumbnail, this is an instant classic. This is going to be an indie JRPG that will be brought up by many content creators, spoken about online for a good while. This is an absolute gem of a title with strong characters, a brilliant story, and such a memorable world which has been built by Roach Games. It is fantastic, and I would highly recommend that you pick this title up. So I'm happy to give Kingdoms of the Dump the Chicken Fillet Play It Award. Absolutely fantastic. Get your hands on it. So if you like what you're hearing and seeing on this channel, please help me grow it by liking, sharing and subscribing. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything Chicken Fillet, you know what to do. Hit that notification bell. This has been John, aka Chicken Fillets, and until next time, tatty bye.